What's happening, internet fam? So it is early in the morning, and I am out here at the Kapolei courthouse, the family courthouse in Hawaii. So yeah, round 3, state 3, um, and yeah, I told Mrs. Garcia that I was never going to give up, and that I would continue to fight for the rights of my children, and that's what I'm doing. And if you're watching this video, that's because we have now officially moved the case over to a third state, and we are going round 3, state 3. None of this is what I wanted. I wanted to have a rational, reasonable way for us to compromise on custody, so that in the best interest of the kids, the kids need their father, they need their mother. And so I have said from the very get-go, hey, let's just, do 50-50 custody. I'll do whatever it takes to make that a reasonable and a healthy thing for everybody involved. I said, at the time, when I first started trying to negotiate this, I was incredibly flexible as to what that was going to look like. I was like, take the kids down in San Diego and have them there for the school year. I'll come visit, 2 or 3 times throughout the winter and fall, and just let me have the kids in the summer. So I was, I wasn't even, pursuing 50-50. I was just like, how close to 50-50 can we get in a reasonable way that's going to be in the best interest of the kids? I was hoping to keep the farm. I was hoping to do all kinds of stuff, like, in the best interest of the kids. That was my goal. And the response was that if I emailed her again, her sister told me, if you email her again, we're getting a restraining order. And big surprise, they got the restraining order anyway. It's called the silver bullet in family court cases. You get the restraining order, it's pretty much done for the other party. That's just how it goes. A lot of people get a restraining order instantly, just so that at least you're kind of playing on a level playing field. But I didn't do that because I am not afraid of her, and I didn't want to commit fraud. Which in hindsight, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe I should have got the restraining order, because that's the strategy. I always try to do the right thing, regardless of strategy. I always want to, look back at everything I did and say, hey, I did the right thing, That kind of stubborn adherence towards integrity and doing the right thing has cost me very dearly, and cost the kids very dearly in this court battle. The legal system doesn't care about you doing the right thing at all. They care about you filling out the paperwork. They care about you filling out the paperwork quickly, early. It's just, it's a meat grinder. They don't have ethics. They don't have integrity. They don't have morals. When you go into the family court system, none of that matters at all. You're here because you made a huge mistake by committing part of your life to somebody who is not worthy. That's how you end up here at the family court. You don't end up in the family court because you married somebody really kind and considerate and thoughtful and who wants to do the best thing for the children. That's not how you end up here. So if you end up here, you made a huge mistake and you're already screwed, basically. Yeah, if you're seeing this, that means that the case has officially moved over to Hawaii, and this is round 3. This has taken weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, I landed here on Christmas Day. I came over to the family court pretty much right away, and it's taken me all the way till now. It's May. It's the end of May. It's almost June. I think June 1st is tomorrow, the next day. It's taken about 6 months to get or 5 months to get all the paperwork together, to get all the court orders, previous rulings, which are all disastrous, have been absolutely disastrous for me. I've lost every single court battle really, really badly. But just like my strict adherence towards integrity and trying to do the right thing, I have the same strict inherent adherence towards never giving up. And so I'm here at the courthouse. I got all my case paperwork again, and this is a much thicker folder than it looks like because I have all the backup stuff in the car, and I'm here to pick up the actual folder that I have to then give to a server and then have the other party served. And yeah, so round 3, state 3. It's weird because this video kind of feels like a celebration video, but it's like the worst celebration ever. You're celebrating continued litigation in another state because you're dealing with somebody who just won't have a reasonable, rational, calm conversation about what's best for the kids. And so it's like, yay, yay, we're going back to court. It's kind of a bummer. It's a major bummer. I mean, it's a major bummer for the kids. They haven't had a dad for almost 2 years now, and I've been fighting it the whole time, every step of the way, and the effects that it's had on the kids has been devastating. Everett is like full of rage now. He loves his dad, he misses his dad, and his dad's not around, and so he's just like full of rage. He's so angry, and I mean, this is classic parental alienation. They're not allowed to keep the gifts that I give them. They're not allowed to talk to me on the phone for I'm supposed to get 20 minutes 3 times a week on the video chat, which is not enough. I mean, that's 1 hour a week with your kids. That's just not enough. I'm supposed to have 2 full visitation days per week, which is basically impossible in Hawaii. So that's one of the reasons we got to come back to the courthouse again here, because if I can't get the restraining order removed and see the kids without the visitation center, the kids aren't going to have no relationship with their dad. That's just how it goes, because the visitation center here is just overrun with dads trying to see their kids, and a few moms, but it's like 90% dads. So before you can start popping off and being all, oh, that's sexist, you're only talking about dads and fathers' rights. Well, hey, it's 90%, all right? For the 10% of moms dealing with this, I am so sorry, and you're not forgotten, and I appreciate everything you've gone through. And probably 80% of you didn't deserve it, maybe even a higher percentage, I don't know, but it is mostly dads. The system is horrendously misandrous, and the fact that you don't even know what the word misandrous means and you need to go look it up shows you that our whole society is completely misandrous, and it's just absolutely weighed against men, especially the family court system. Child support, at this point, I look at child support as a form of extortion that's levied against people who have already been discriminated against based on their gender. So, it's like, imagine, like, with the Emancipation Proclamation, right? Imagine we told, the black people, okay, you're no longer slaves. You're free. You can go start a business or work for another business, or get a job on a farm and get paid wages. You're no longer a slave. But by the way, we need you to give 30% of your income to your former slave owner every single month. That's what child support is. That's how it works. And people who think that that's not how it is just don't understand that that's exactly how it is. Because the reality is, the court should be defaulting to 50-50 custody. I mean, there are very few cases where the court should not be defaulting to 50-50 custody. I mean, you want to tell me all of these millions of dads who are not in jail, who have no criminal record, who have no history of violence or any other kind of pathology, shouldn't have access to their kids? Why? Because a bitter, angry woman says so? It's not, and what's weird too is, like, most of these states have no fault divorce. So even though one of the people disrupted the marriage, either by cheating or whatever it is that they did to cause the family unit to be destroyed, the state doesn't recognize that. They're like, nah, okay, so somebody was cheating, we don't care at all. We're just gonna make our own new findings, without allowing hardly any evidence to be submitted, and we're just gonna go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and make a new determination without looking at any of the facts, without looking at any of the history, without looking at any of the, without doing any kind of in-depth research on the mental health of the people involved. Um, they don't order any kind of psych eval for either of the parties. They just make a ruling, like, off the cuff, off the back thing, and 90% of the time, it's against the dad. And leaving a lot of dads in crippling debt, and a lot of men commit suicide. They miss their kids, and they can't even work a regular job without they can't even survive. A lot of men can't survive at all. I'm very fortunate. My skill sets are vast. I've put a lot of work into bettering my employable skill sets over the last 30 years. And I can pretty much do anything with a computer. I can do any kind of construction. I can fix cars. I can and I play music. And I can play music anywhere, anytime, and make enough to survive. I'm very fortunate. There are a lot of guys out there who didn't put effort into building their skill set into something profitable that they could survive on. And they have to get a regular job with a W-2, and the state just takes all of it and gives it to their ex and says, no, you can't see your kids. So I'm very, very fortunate. It's hard to be thankful and come from a place of gratitude given the horrendous nature of the abuse that I've suffered and that my children have suffered. And it's very, very hard to stay focused on that. But I really have to. I don't have a choice because, like I said, most guys out there have it much worse than me. They can't just, open a violin case on the street and get enough money for a burrito or whatever. It's, what I mean? It's not going to happen. So I've been very, very fortunate compared to most of the guys out there. And I've had really great friends and family supporting me the whole time, seeing what's happened to me and the kids, and just, saying, hey, if there's anything I can do, if there's any way I can help. And a lot of people have directly helped me in ways that I have to be so thankful for. And it's in all different ways. Some people are like, hey, I see the struggle, I've been through the struggle, here's $500. That happened. And it's just like, it's funny because at the time when that happened, I needed that $500 so bad. I can't even tell you. It was a lifesaver. And then, other times people are like, hey, I know somebody, I have a friend in the area where you're at. Let me call them and see if they can help you out. And it was weird, it was just, so I'm meeting these strangers, and I'm like, hey, can you just hold my guitar and violin for a minute while I go, try to get a car, or try to find some work or somewhere to sleep. And and it's, no sweat off their back. It wasn't a big deal, but at the same time, at that moment, it was clutch, and it really, really helped me out. And there's just been so many people along the way who have really helped me out in ways like that. And like I said, I've been so fortunate. And a big part of that too is coming from the music industry, having fans and friends and family all over the world that probably wouldn't know me or know about my struggle or anything if I hadn't, fronted and been in a couple of successful bands in the past. So again, crazy fortunate for me and for my kids that I've been able to kind of muscle through this quagmire of horrible misery and filth, and keep my composure, keep my mental health, keep my physical health, and keep fighting for the kids. A lot of men don't have those assets and don't have those capabilities, and swallow a bullet. A lot of men do, and ultimately that's what the alienator wants to achieve. They want to achieve so much misery that you just want to get off the ride. But you know, when you have kids, you can never give up. When you have kids, you got to keep fighting for your kids. It is your responsibility, even if you're getting absolutely screwed, like I am, like so many men in this country are, with these ridiculous no-fault divorce laws and child support laws, and just all. It's just the system is so toxic and vile and so absolutely one-sided against men. It's crazy. It's crazy that it is how it is. And seeing the other, you know, hearing everybody else's stories online, on Facebook, everywhere else, it is absolutely devastating that this is the system that we're poisoning our kids with. It's awful. I mean, it's not just the poison food with the glyphosate in the food and the aluminum and the vaccines and, you know, all these other ways that we're poisoning our kids. But we're also like literally poisoning our kids, saying, hey, you know, your dad is a bad person, you know, with no evidence, no criminal record, no anything. Just, yeah, your dad's a bad person, and therefore we're not going to let you see him for years, you know. And it's so wrong, it's so unethical, it's so immoral, and it's illegal. It's unconstitutional. You know, our Constitution says, you know, you get a jury of your peers, and you get a timely trial. 6 months to get it moved over to a third state. Took 2 years to get heard in San Diego. It took a year to get heard in Oregon. I've never had a jury of my peers, ever, because if I did, they'd look at the evidence and be like, yeah, 50-50 custody right away, obviously. But that's, you know, this meat grinder is a meat grinder for profit, and that's what's so toxic for our kids, you know, like all these other meat grinders that are so toxic for our kids, you know. You know, the big corporate FDA food and drug, you know, there's such a profit motive behind all of it that's so negative for all of us in the end. And this is just another example, you know, here being down at the family court. Anyway, if you're watching this video, that means it's a couple of days from now, probably. So we're probably in early June now, and the case is officially in Hawaii. I'm officially in Hawaii. I'm healthy. I have survived, thanks to a lot of kindness and good fortune and hard work. Not just on my own either. I've had some. I've been incredibly fortunate on this journey, with the support that I've got from friends and family, and yeah, I really need to stay thankful and come from a place of gratitude, because this is a horrible, horrible situation. You know, even if it gets reversed, even if custody is totally reversed and I get custody, and they just visit their mom, you know, for a few hours on the weekend or whatever, which is a possibility, however unlikely. Even if that were to occur, the damage that has been done, the amount of healing, the time that it's going to take for my kids to heal, even in that best case scenario, it is such a mountain to climb. You know, my kids have been so harmed by everything that's gone on already. You know, a 5-year-old, which Everett was when this started and Grace is now, a 5-year-old shouldn't have to see how cruel and unfair the world is in this way, and to fracture their worldview, and to kind of just put them in the reality of how dismal and unfair and cruel and vicious people can be, family can be, their own family can be, and the system at large, you know, to give them such a kick in the teeth, as far as like, you know, this could happen to you even if you've done nothing wrong, it's just something that a 5-year-old shouldn't have in their perspective, or a 7-year-old should have in their perspective. And I mean, Everett is so angry, and he has a right to be angry. How could he not have a right to be angry? He absolutely has a right to be angry, but it's just such a bummer that he is so angry, and it's such a bummer that that it's continuing. Anyway, that's it, internet fam. Round 3, state 3. back at the courthouse again.